As we get older, something changes at night. I used to fall asleep the moment my head hit the pillow. Now, I lie there staring at the ceiling, wondering why rest feels so far away. And I've heard the same from so many seniors, friends from all over Europe and America. It's not just the body that grows tired, it's the mind that keeps turning, the bladder that wakes you up, the legs that twitch, the memories that won't stay quiet. At Elderly Reflections, we don't just talk about senior health. We live it, we listen, and we learn. So if you've ever felt alone in those restless nights, stay with me. This story might just help you sleep a little easier. And hey, if this speaks to you, go ahead and subscribe. We share real stories, honest advice, and a bit of elderly wisdom every single week. You know, the older I get, the more I realize sleep isn't what it used to be. It's strange how something so natural can become so complicated. I've spoken with dozens of seniors, and their stories echo mine. We all face similar sleep troubles, but for different reasons. Today, let me walk you through 6 of the most common ones I've heard and lived. Maybe you'll recognize your own story in theirs. Maybe you'll feel a little less alone. The first reason, and probably the most frustrating one, is trouble falling asleep. You'd think after a long day, we'd just drift off. But for many of us, we lie down, turn off the lights, and nothing. Just silence and the sound of our own thoughts. That's what happened to Bill, a 70-year-old jazz musician from New Orleans. He told me, man, back in the day I could sleep anywhere. On a tour bus, in a hotel, you name it. Now, I lie there 3 hours thinking about the groceries I forgot to buy. And he wasn't joking. His doctor later explained it's not just anxiety. Our melatonin levels drop as we age, so the brain doesn't get the sleep signal like it used to. Bill started a nighttime routine with warm showers and soft music. He said, I had to learn how to sleep like it was a lost art. Now the second reason, frequent waking during the night. This one hits hard. You fall asleep fine, but then you wake up at 1, then 3, then 5. Each time it's harder to fall back asleep. And no, it's not just about needing the bathroom. The older we get, the lighter our sleep becomes. We spend less time in deep restorative sleep. Small noises or temperature changes can snap us awake. I remember Judith from Vermont, 68, who said, it's like my body's on a 2-hour alarm clock. I don't even set it, it just wakes me. She eventually learned her cat jumping on the bed was waking her each night. So she started sleeping with the door closed. Simple change, big relief. But that kind of fragmented sleep can leave you tired all day, and the effects build over time. Number 3, and it's one many people don't even realize, is waking up too early and not being able to go back to sleep. You might go to bed at 10 and by 4 a.m. your eyes pop open and you sit there in the dark wondering what to do. This happened to George, 74, from Manchester. He told me every morning at 4:30, like clockwork, I'd wake up, couldn't go back to sleep, couldn't make breakfast because it's too early, just waited for the world to wake up. Turns out George was dealing with low-level depression, and early waking is a common symptom. He started therapy and walking every morning at sunrise. Funny, he told me, I still wake up early, but now I don't feel alone. Let's talk about number 4, restless legs or body movements during sleep. I wouldn't have believed it myself if I hadn't experienced it. You're lying still, and suddenly your legs feel like they're crawling, or worse, your spouse tells you that you're kicking all night. That's exactly what happened with Eleanor, 72, from Nova Scotia. My husband said I was dancing in my sleep. She laughed, but it didn't feel like dancing to me. She was later diagnosed with restless leg syndrome. The doctor adjusted her iron levels and gave her a low-dose medication. And sure enough, the symptoms eased. I didn't realize how bad it was until it stopped, she told me. That's the thing, we normalize discomfort until it becomes unbearable. But seniors, we've got to listen to our bodies. 5th on the list, sleep apnea. This one's sneaky and dangerous. You don't wake up because you're restless. You wake up because you stop breathing, even if you don't know it. It leads to gasping, snoring, and feeling exhausted the next day, even after 8 hours in bed. George, a retired trucker in Ohio, shared his story. I thought it was just age making me tired, but my wife said I sounded like I was choking in my sleep. That scared her, and honestly, it scared me too. He did a sleep study and they found he had moderate sleep apnea. Now he uses a CPAP machine. It's not sexy, he laughed, but man, I feel alive again. I can finally stay awake through a whole movie. Sleep apnea is more common in seniors than people think. And untreated, it raises the risk of heart problems, strokes, even memory loss. It's not just about rest, it's about survival. Lastly, and this one's overlooked, is the effect of medication. As we age, we often take more pills, blood pressure, heart meds, antidepressants, and more. But some of these mess with sleep. Diuretics make you pee more. Sedation blockers reduce melatonin. Even some pain meds can cause vivid dreams or restlessness. Take Laura, a 69-year-old retired school teacher from Portland. She told me, "I thought my insomnia was just part of aging, but it turns out the blood pressure pills I took at night were the culprit." Once her doctor shifted her meds to morning, her sleep improved. "It was like night and day," she said, smiling. That's a classic example of elderly wisdom. Sometimes it's not about adding more treatments, it's about looking at what's already there. So there you have it, 6 of the most common reasons seniors like us struggle with sleep. Trouble falling asleep, frequent waking, early morning awakenings, restless legs, sleep apnea, and medication effects. Each one with its own story, its own lesson. And believe me, we've got more to cover because sleep isn't a luxury, it's a foundation. Without it, everything else crumbles. Stick with me because next we're going to explore the emotional toll of poor sleep and how it quietly affects our motivation, memory, and even our relationships. That's where the story really deepens. Stay close. Now, if you've made it this far, let me tell you, poor sleep doesn't just make you tired, it changes who you are. It reaches into your memory, your motivation, your mood, even your relationships. We don't talk about this enough, but ask any senior who's gone through it, and they'll tell you a sleepless night is only the beginning. The real cost shows up during the day. The first big impact is memory and cognitive decline. I've heard so many seniors say, "I'm just getting forgetful." But what if that forgetfulness is actually sleep debt? Neuroscience backs it up. Our brains use deep sleep to sort memories, to clean out wastes, to reset. Without it, everything gets clean. That's what happened to Irene, 71, a retired librarian from Wisconsin. She was sharp her whole life, remembered every book she ever read. But lately she found herself forgetting appointments, misplacing her keys, even repeating her. "I thought I was losing my mind," she said. Her doctor ordered a sleep study. Turned out she had undiagnosed sleep apnea and barely hit any deep sleep all night. Once she started treatment, her clarity slowly returned. "I'm not perfect," she said, "but I finally feel like myself again." That's a powerful reminder. Sometimes what we fear is dementia might just be exhaustion. The second impact is on mood and emotional stability. When you don't sleep, your brain loses its filter. The little things feel overwhelming. You feel more irritable, more anxious, more depressed. Sleep is when our brain regulates mood. It's when we process grief, soothe stress, reset our perspective. Without it, we become emotional shadows of ourselves. That's what happened to Carl, a 78-year-old retired veteran in Arizona. He told me, "I was snapping at my wife, my grandkids. That ain't like me. I was just so tired all the time. But I didn't even realize I was tired. I thought I was just angry." His therapist helped him track his sleep, and they realized he was only getting 4 fragmented hours per night. Once they addressed his sleep hygiene, things like routine, lighting, caffeine, his mood improved dramatically. "I still have bad days," he said, "but now I know it's not me, it's the sleep." The third toll is on physical energy and independence. You skip your morning walk, you cancel lunch with a friend, your muscles ache, everything feels harder when you're sleep deprived. And as we age, staying active is key to maintaining strength, balance, and confidence. Poor sleep makes it easy to slip into inactivity, and from there it's a fast slide to frailty. Mary, 80, from Edinburgh, used to garden every day, but after a rough winter of insomnia, she stopped going outside. "I just didn't have it in me," she said. "My body felt heavy, like I was dragging bricks." Her son noticed, took her to a geriatric specialist, and they discovered her thyroid meds were too strong. One of the side effects? Insomnia. Once her dosage was corrected, her sleep returned. "And so did my garden," she laughed. "Those roses weren't going to prune themselves." The fourth effect of poor sleep is increased social withdrawal and loneliness. You see, when you're tired, you start canceling plans. You avoid phone calls, you skip family gatherings, and the people around you assume you're not interested anymore. But it's not disinterest, it's depletion. This is one of the most heartbreaking parts of elderly reflections I've heard. Jim, 75, a retired bus driver from Boston, said, "I stopped going to church. I didn't want to, but I was just so exhausted. My friends thought I was pulling away, but I was just out of gas." This kind of quiet isolation can become dangerous. It's linked to faster mental decline, heart problems, and even premature death. But once Jim got help for his insomnia, He started showing up again. I'm not the life of the party, he smiled, but I'm at the party now. Fifth, there's the impact on chronic conditions. Diabetes, hypertension, arthritis. These conditions get worse when sleep is poor. Why? Because sleep is when the body heals. It regulates hormones, reduces inflammation, strengthens immunity. If you're not sleeping, your blood sugar spikes more easily. Your blood pressure stays high. Your joints stay inflamed. Nancy, 73 from Florida, had been struggling with her blood pressure for years. It was never quite stable. Her doctor tried changing her medications, adjusting her salt intake. Nothing worked. Finally, they ran a sleep study. Turns out she had mild sleep apnea. When she began treatment, her blood pressure readings became more predictable. I thought I had a heart problem, she said. Turns out, I had a sleep problem wearing a heart mask. Finally, and I say this with deep respect, poor sleep steals your will to live. Not in a dramatic way, in a quiet, subtle way. You stop caring about the things you loved. You stop planning for tomorrow. You stop dreaming. And when you stop dreaming, you stop thriving. James, 82, a widower from Vancouver, told me, I didn't feel suicidal. I just didn't feel anything. I was so tired of being tired. I stopped reading. I stopped playing chess. I just sat there, waiting for the day to end. A local senior health group reached out, got him into a sleep program with therapy and group support. 3 months later, he said, I finally bought a new chessboard. The pieces are heavy in my hand. Feels like life has weight again. That line stayed with me. Life has weight again. Because that's what sleep does. It reconnects you to your strength, to your memories, to your sense of purpose, to the people around you. Without sleep, you drift. With it, you return. So if you've been struggling with sleep, know this. It's not just about being tired. It's about your mind, your mood, your body, your spirit. It touches everything. And the good news is, it can be helped. Not overnight, but piece by piece. And in just a moment, I want to share with you what I've learned, what real people have done to reclaim their rest. Because the stories you've heard so far, they don't end in frustration. They lead to healing. And if they can find peace again, so can you. So where do we go from here? After hearing all these stories, all the struggles, what do we actually do about it? I'll tell you what I've learned, not from textbooks, but from people like Irene, Carl, Mary, and James. Folks who walked through sleepless nights and found their way back. These aren't magic cures, they're habits, choices, shifts in mindset. And they work. The first thing is having a sleep routine and sticking to it. You go to bed at the same time. You wake up at the same time. Even on weekends. I know it sounds simple, but most seniors I've spoken to didn't realize how unpredictable their evenings had become. Watching TV too late, eating dinner at odd hours, napping during the day. Once they created a rhythm, their bodies responded. Carl told me, I started treating bedtime like a sacred appointment. Not something to skip, not something to delay. Within weeks, I stopped waking up angry. I felt steady again. That word, steady, is a gift. Second, create a wind-down ritual. No screens, no bright lights, no news headlines before bed. Instead, dim the lights, read a gentle book, sip a warm, non-caffeinated drink, play soft music. I remember Eleanor started lighting a candle every night and listening to old records. She said, it's like telling my brain, the day is done, let's rest now. For her, it wasn't just routine, it was comfort. And that's what we need more of in senior health. Comfort, not chaos. Third, look at your medications and speak to your doctor. You'd be surprised how many sleep issues are caused or worsened by the very pills we're prescribed. Laura, the retired school teacher, is the perfect example. Once my doctor moved my blood pressure meds to the morning, she said, I got my nights back. But she had to ask, don't wait for the doctor to bring it up. Be proactive. Ask, could this be affecting my sleep? That one question could change everything. Fourth, get sunlight during the day, especially in the morning. Seniors often stay indoors more, but our circadian rhythm depends on natural light. Morning sun tells your body when to be awake and when to sleep later. James, the chess player from Vancouver, started taking a walk at 8 a.m. every day. It changed more than my sleep, he told me. It changed my mood, my energy, my hope. That's what I call inspiration. Straight from elderly reflections. Fifth, limit naps and keep them short. A 20-minute nap after lunch, fine. But 2-hour naps in the afternoon? That steals your night's sleep. George, the early riser, said, I cut out my long afternoon snooze. It was tough, but then I started sleeping later, deeper. I even made it to 6 a.m. one day. Felt like a miracle. These aren't just changes, they're victories. Small, steady, powerful victories. Sixth, pay attention to the emotional side. Poor sleep is often tied to grief, loneliness, or stress. And no pill can fix what the heart carries. Irene joined a support group for women over 70. They met once a week, shared stories, cried, laughed. After a few months, she told me, "I didn't just sleep better. I felt lighter, like I had exhaled something I'd been holding in for years." That's the thing about emotional healing. It whispers its way into better rest. 7. And I can't stress this enough. Get tested if you suspect sleep apnea. If you snore loudly, wake up gasping, or feel exhausted no matter how long you sleep, get a sleep study. It might save your life. George the trucker told me, "I didn't like the idea of the CPAP machine, but once I felt the difference, I loved it. I got my days back and my wife got her quiet nights back too." It's never too late to reclaim your night. And finally, believe that sleep is worth fighting for. Don't shrug it off. Don't say it's just part of getting old. No, it's not. Rest is not a luxury, it's a right. A basic part of a peaceful life. You deserve that. We all do. These lessons come not just from science but from living, from trial and error, from trying again. They're life lessons from the elderly, passed down not through books, but through conversations like this one. You see, sleep is more than rest. It's renewal, it's memory, it's patience. It's the difference between surviving and truly living. And as one man once told me, "I'm not chasing youth. I'm just trying to wake up and feel like myself again." That's the goal, that's the hope, and it's possible. So if any part of this story sounded familiar, I want you to know something. You're not broken, you're not alone. Trouble sleeping isn't a weakness. It's a signal, and when we listen, truly listen, we begin to heal. We've walked through the causes, we've felt the weight, and now we know there's a way back. It starts with awareness, with asking better questions, with choosing each day to fight for rest, not just for sleep, but for the life that sleep makes possible. At Elderly Reflections, we believe in sharing elderly wisdom not to dwell in the past, but to brighten the path ahead, for ourselves, for our families, and for those who still think they're the only ones lying awake at 3 a.m. If you found comfort, inspiration, or even just a moment of peace in this video, go ahead and share it with someone who needs it. And before you go, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Where are you watching from tonight? Because no matter where you are in the world, if you're listening, you're part of this circle. And we're so glad you're here.